use our diplomatic pressure, and we can decide how much legitimacy we're going to give them and for how long. Because legitimacy isn't a one and done or once and done deal. Legitimacy is continuous. So it's important for us to remember that we have to know how to navigate and utilize our diplomatic power and know how to leverage it. And this is extended beyond the United States. We have to get Russia on board, China on board, India on board, Pakistan on board, and come to a conclusion as to what justifies legitimacy granted to the Taliban, what justifies us granting the Taliban legitimacy. So if China goes ahead and grants them legitimacy while the rest of the world hasn't, that causes dueling narratives, that causes competing narratives. So I think we have to have more of a direct dialogue with big players like China and Russia and Pakistan and India, who might grant the Taliban legitimacy, and make sure we're all on the same page. Not necessarily imposing American foreign policy on China or Russia. We have to be very careful about that. But knowing that we have to have a certain consistent message. And the Taliban does not want to be isolated. They were isolated between 1996 and 2001, and that's why their government fell so fast. They don't want to be isolated this time because they want to make sure they have some alliances, some support around the world, some international legitimacy and recognition. So I think it's very important to realize that it's in their self-interest to work with us to a degree. I don't think we can expect too much liberalization from them. And I think that's what some Americans are making the mistake of doing. Okay, you guys have to fully liberalize and fully modernize. No, we cannot expect a secular state out of the Taliban. But we also have to expect, or secular democracy, but we also have to put some expectations of inclusivity, put some expectations of basic women's rights and basic minority rights upon them to make sure something happens. I wanted to go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, China is making them part of the Belt and Road Initiative, what am I trying to say here? Where they literally went to Afghanistan and said, hey, now that you took over, we're going to build stuff in your country. We're going to build your roads. We're going to build your tunnels, your bridges, your highways, your waterways, your railways. We're going to make your schools, your hospitals, your offices. China's going to go in there and do what the U.S. didn't. It's called, building crap, right? And Kyle Kalinske, who I have a problem with right now, said, oh, well, that's another version of imperialism. We went in and bombed stuff, but that's another name of imperialism. It's not imperialism, right? China, look, if you call it imperialism, then China buying up all of our restaurants, buying up all of our housing here in the United States, that's imperialism. It's not imperialism to me. To me, it's like you just said. The Taliban is going, China, come in here. India, you too? United States, how about you? That's what they're doing. They're allowing China to go in and say, can you please fix our effing country if the United States effed it up? And China's like, sure. Xi Jinping is like, yeah, why not? And, I think that's necessary. And I love how the United States goes, oh my God, the Taliban. Oh my God, so scary. Forgetting that they worked with the Mujahideen and the Taliban in the 1990s to take down the Soviet Union and Afghanistan. They sent in the Mujahideen, and guess who was the head of the Mujahideen? Oh yeah, CIA backed and trained Osama bin Laden, future leader of Al Qaeda. Oh yeah, oops. So they, it's all they say the Taliban is so bad. Well, why'd you work with them? Why'd you do it? And by the way, the Taliban fought ISIS. They did a number on ISIS. That was a clean sweep, dog. That was awesome. Watching that happen. I mean, neither of them have an air force, but both of them know how to make bombs. And the U.S. just gave away $90 billion in bombs and guns and all kinds of crap to the Taliban. And by the way, we spent
and all kinds of vehicles as well. Yeah,
Humvees and tanks and armored plates and armored vehicles. They made the Taliban more powerful. So Joe Biden's going to say it's their fault. No. And by the way, Biden wants to do airstrikes from within Kabul, but the Taliban is saying no. So he's begging the president of Pakistan, like, yo, can I do airstrikes from from your place. So he still wants to do counterterrorism options, have black ops and special ops there, and the 650 troops, which he can't do, but he's still trying to do airstrikes. And so he's trying to do airstrikes while China is coming in saying, I want to work with you. That could be a problem because guess what? Apparently the United States wanted to keep China and Russia at bay. Well, now guess what? China's adding it to their chessboard. Is it imperialism? No, because they're not going to impart Chinese culture on Afghanistan. Yeah, they might like put Chinese people to live there and there'll be a new culture. And I think that's beautiful. If we can get another culture in another country, that's great. Now, China ain't that great on women either.
China's not that great on Muslims, though. China really mistreats the Muslim minority in China.
So right now, my theory is they're not really wanting to be friends with the Taliban. They're not really wanting to be friends with people of Afghanistan. They just want to build, and they just want to have more business there. They don't care about the Muslims. Don't you think that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
It's also to be more competitive than the U.S.
Muslims. They could care less. Yeah,
it's also to be competitive with the U.S. Like, ha, bitches, we built shit in Afghanistan. Right.
So I will take a counter approach. I agree with the bulk of what you're saying, but I think we should look at it from an alternative perspective. China and Russia has more invested interest in that part of the world than we do because geographically that part of the world is closer to China and Russia. So if China and Russia are investing resources into that part of the world, so be it. Why should we be investing resources into that part of the world when we're half a world away? We should be worrying more about what's happening here in the United States and helping our citizenry. So let China and let Russia use Afghanistan as a chessboard piece or a pawn or whatever they want to use it as. That's nothing to us. I don't think we should really worry too much about that. And I will add, I don't think China's going to invest as much money in Afghanistan as they did in places like Sri Lanka, in East Africa, like Kenya, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and elsewhere. The reason I say that is because last time they invested so many resources in places like Sri Lanka, they found that there was not a high return on investment because the Sri Lankan people did not know how to effectively use the port. The Chinese ended up capitalizing on the port, from my understanding. But the point of the matter is China is going to want Afghanistan for strategic geopolitical advantages. I don't think they're going to invest a lot in the infrastructure, which means Afghanistan is going to be more so in need of international economic aid, foreign aid. And this is where we can leverage our diplomatic power to make sure the Taliban gives minorities, women, and other populations rights in Afghanistan by saying we will withhold foreign aid. The World Bank will withhold foreign aid. The International Monetary Fund will withhold foreign aid unless and until you grant a certain basic semblance of rights to these people in your homeland, in your nation. If you really care about the people of your nation, if you really care about the people of your nation, you'd protect them. I think that's what we should do. I think that's what we should do for Saudi Arabia as well. But are we going to? No, because we see it that we have a disgusting but strategic alliance with Saudi Arabia that I don't think we have with the Taliban. So I think we'll be able to be more pragmatic as it relates to Afghanistan if we use diplomacy as opposed to military.